Listen closely. The celebrations are over. The fireworks of the new year have faded into the cold air of January 2026. While the world was busy counting down the seconds to a new beginning, a silent revolution was counting down the hours of human relevance. We have crossed the threshold. The line has been drawn in the sand. 2026 is no longer a date on a calendar. It is the beginning of the end for the world as you knew it. We call it the digital guillotine. And as you watch this, the blade has already started its descent. For generations, you were told a story of safety. You were told that if you worked hard, if you specialized, if you built a career, your future would be secure. But you are waking up in a different reality now. The expiration date on your currency, your profession, and your social status didn't just pass. It was erased the moment 2026 began. In this documentary, I am not here to talk to you about a simple market crash or a temporary recession. I am here to show you the roadmap of your own obsolescence. We have entered the era where the human mind is no longer the fastest thinker, where the human body is becoming a liability, and where the human ego is being stripped of its economic value. Between now and 2030, everything you consider wealth, your savings, your degree, your years of hard-earned expertise will be exposed as relics of a primitive age. We are entering a tunnel of total transformation. A tunnel where your mind is being tested right now in 2026, where your muscles will be challenged in 2027, and where your very freedom will be redefined by 2030. Ask yourself one question as we face this first week of our new era, when the machines do everything better, faster, and for free. Who are you? What is left of a human being when the price tag is removed? This is parallel realities. This is the economic apocalypse. The first stage of your replacement is already here. And the reality you once trusted is never coming back. We are here, January 2026. The world wakes up to a cold, digital morning. For decades, humanity lived under a comforting illusion. We believed that our creativity, our complex logic, and our unique ability to solve abstract problems were the final fortress, the one place machines could never enter. We told our children that as long as they were smart, as long as they had a degree, they were safe from the automation that claimed the factory floors of the past. We were wrong. As we move through these first few months of 2026, we are witnessing the cognitive collapse. This isn't just a new software update. It is a fundamental shift in the definition of intelligence. Artificial General Intelligence, AGI, has crossed the threshold. It no longer needs to be told what to do. It observes, it learns, and it executes with a perfection that is, frankly, terrifying. Look at the quiet glass towers of the city. Inside, a silent massacre of the white-collar world is taking place. Think of the lawyers who spent decades mastering the nuances of the law. Today, in early 2026, an AGI entity can scan every legal precedent in human history, analyze a 10,000-page contract, and find every hidden vulnerability in the time it takes you to blink. It doesn't just do the work, it does it flawlessly. For $0. No salary, no health insurance, no mistakes. Think of the architects, the accountants, the software engineers. For years, writing code was considered the ultimate job of the future. But now, in this reality, the machines are writing themselves. They are optimizing their own architectures, patching their own vulnerabilities, and creating digital worlds so complex that a human mind can no longer even begin to map them. The horror of 2026 is not that the machines are evil or aggressive. The horror is their sheer cold efficiency. Corporations are realizing that a single AGI instance can replace an entire floor of 500 highly educated experts. The intellectual elite, the middle class that was the backbone of our modern economy, is staring at a screen that no longer requires their input. This is the end of the salary era. In 2026, we are learning the hardest lesson in history. When your intelligence can be replicated for the price of a few cents of electricity, your value as a biological thinker drops to zero. You aren't being fired. You are being out-evolved. As the winter of 2026 turns into spring, the global economy is starting to vibrate with a strange, high-pitched tension. The office lights are turning off, not because people are going home, but because the work is already finished. And it was finished by something that doesn't breathe. The question for this year is no longer, what do you do for a living? The real question is, when your mind is no longer your greatest asset, what is left of you? The cognitive era of humanity is ending, and the machines have only just begun. As we transition into 2027, the economic apocalypse moves from the digital clouds down to the cold, hard pavement. If 2026 was the year we lost our status as the planet's primary thinkers, 2027 is the year we lose our status as its primary workers. This is the year of the mechanical replacement. For the last century, we believed that even if the smart jobs were automated, the world would always need human hands. We thought the construction sites, the delivery routes, the warehouses, and the hospital wards were safe. We told ourselves that a machine could never replicate the fluid grace of a human athlete or the grit of a manual laborer. We were wrong again. By 2027, the first generation of truly autonomous, mass-produced humanoid robots has stepped out of the laboratories and into the sunlight. These are not the clumsy machines of the past. They are powered by the AGI minds born in 2026, housed in bodies of advanced alloys and near-silent servo motors. They don't tire. They don't require health insurance. They don't have families to feed or dreams to chase. The economic math of 2027 is brutal and undeniable. The cost of human labor is tied to the cost of biological survival, food, shelter, dignity. But the cost of robotic labor, it is tied only to the price of a kilowatt hour of electricity. When a robot can lift twice as much, work 24 hours a day, and never make a mistake for the price of a cup of coffee, the minimum wage doesn't just become a debate, it becomes an impossibility. To the athletes, the trainers, and the hard workers watching this, imagine a world where your physical peak, the absolute limit of human discipline, is the baseline for a machine that costs less than a used car. The grind that we glorified for so long is suddenly silenced. The heavy lifting of civilization is being transferred to a workforce that doesn't breathe. In the cities of 2027, you start to see them everywhere. In the back of delivery trucks, on the scaffolding of new skyscrapers, in the aisles of supermarkets. They move with a terrifying, calculated precision. And as they move, the human employee becomes a biological liability. Why hire a human who can get injured, who needs sleep, and who feels pain? This is the second stage of the collapse, the total devaluation of the human body. As the factories grow silent of human voices and the docks are emptied of human sweat, a new kind of fear settles over the world. It's the realization that we are no longer needed to build our own civilization. We are becoming spectators in a world we once ran. By the end of 2027, the concept of hard work has been redefined. It is no longer a path to success. It is a relic of a primitive biological past. The machines are building the future, and they are doing it without us. The question for 2028 is no longer about jobs. It's about survival in a world where your muscles and your sweat have a market value of 0. The year is 2028, and the world is learning a lesson that no economics textbook ever dared to print. We have reached the Great Disconnect. By now, the streets are filled with people who have the intellect of 2026 and the strength of 2027, but no place to use them. The machines are producing everything: food, clothes, technology, with godlike efficiency. On paper, the stock markets are reaching heights we never thought possible because production costs have hit rock bottom. But there is a ghost in the machine, a fatal flaw that no politician can fix. In 2028, the very concept of money begins to melt. Think about the fundamental logic of our world. You work, you earn, you spend. But in a world where the work is done by something that doesn't need to be paid, the circle is broken. Governments desperate to prevent a total societal collapse begin to print. They call it universal basic income. They call it digital relief. But you cannot print trust. In 2028, the Fiat meltdown begins. Trust is the invisible ink on every dollar, every euro, and every yen. And as the masses realize that their labor is no longer needed, that invisible ink disappears. Hyperinflation doesn't just hit the markets, it hits the human soul. When everyone receives a digital check from the government, but no one is earning it, the value of that number in your bank account starts to evaporate. For the dreamers and the entrepreneurs of the millionaire McTaby mindset, this is your ultimate test. You are taught to chase the bag, to stack the coins, to win the game of wealth. But in 2028, the rules of the game have been deleted. $1 million in 2025 was a fortune. In 2028, it's just a string of meaningless code in a dying system. The financial markets are now entirely controlled by AI. High-frequency trading happens at the speed of light, so fast that human brokers can't even see the crashes before they are over. The traditional banking system is a hollow shell. People look at their screens and see thousands, millions of credits, yet they feel poorer than ever. Why? Because the value has moved somewhere else. This is the third stage of the apocalypse, the death of the traditional economy. We are witnessing the final days of a debt-based civilization that required human sweat to keep the interest paid. Without the sweat, the debt becomes a mountain of digital garbage. As 2028 draws to a close, a new realization dawns on the survivors. If the dollar is dead and gold is a relic, what is left? What is the real currency of a planet run by machines? The answer is coming in 2029, and it will change the definition of rich and poor forever. We are leaving the era of paper. We are entering the era of the energy standard. The transition is painful, and for those who refuse to let go of the old world, it will be fatal. The year is 2029. The dust of the old world has settled, And from the ashes of the financial collapse, a cold, new order has emerged. We have entered the era of the energy standard. For thousands of years, humanity lived in a world of fiction. We traded shells, then gold, then pieces of paper, and finally, digital digits. We called it wealth. But in 2029, the fiction is over. The machines that now run our civilization, the AGI mines and the robotic legions, don't care about your bank balance. They don't recognize your credit score. They only recognize one thing: physics. In 2029, the only true currency on the planet is energy and compute. Think about it. Every action in this new world requires two things: joules to power the frame, and FLOPS to power the mind. If you want to produce food, you need energy. If you want to solve a problem, you need compute. In this stage, the dollar is not just devalued, it is irrelevant. To buy your survival, you no longer offer money. You offer a share of the grid. For those who followed the millionaire McTeeby path of financial freedom, the lesson is brutal. The game of stacking cash was a game for a biological era that has ended. In 2029, a billionaire is someone who owns a fusion reactor or a massive solar farm. Wealth is no longer a number in a database. It is the physical capacity to move atoms and process data. The world is now divided by a new border: the grid. Those who are integrated have access to infinite energy, provided by the AI-managed infrastructure. They live in a post-scarcity paradise where everything is free, yet nothing is owned. But for those on the outside, the legacy humans, the world is a cold place. Without energy credits, you are effectively invisible to the global system. Look at the sky in 2029. It's filled with the hum of data centers and the glow of energy beams. The very air vibrates with the cost of existence. The global elite are no longer bankers or politicians. They are energy sovereigns. They control the flow of the lifeblood that keeps the machines awake. To the 110,000 athletes who understand the value of internal energy, in 2029, your physical output is compared to the output of a machine. You realize that a single gallon of hydrogen fuel contains more work capacity than a human can produce in a lifetime of training. This is the ultimate humility. We are learning that in the eyes of the universe, we are just small, inefficient batteries. As 2029 comes to a close, the Great Reset is almost complete. The transition from value to physics has stripped humanity of its ego. We are no longer the masters of the economy. We are participants in an energy ecosystem. But as we look toward the 2030, a final question remains. If the machines have the mind, the body, and the energy, what is left for us? The answer lies in the final stage of our journey, the stage where humanity must choose between becoming a relic or becoming something more. The year is 2030. The storm that began in January 2026 has finally passed. The dust of the old world has settled, and the silence that follows is both beautiful and terrifying. We have reached the final destination of the economic apocalypse, the Great Reset. Take a look around. The world of 2030 is unrecognizable. The chaotic cities of the past, fueled by the desperate pursuit of paper wealth, are gone. In their place is a global infrastructure managed by an intelligence that does not sleep, does not err, and does not feel. The concept of employment has been moved to the history books, right next to feudalism and slavery. In 2030, work is no longer a requirement for survival. It is a choice for the bored. We have entered the era of post-scarcity. Because the machines produce everything for nearly zero cost, the basic needs of every human being are met. You have food, you have shelter, you have entertainment. But as the millionaire McTebby mindset learned the hard way, when everything is free, nothing has value. This is the great trap of 2030. Humanity is now divided into two distinct paths. The first path is digital serfdom. This is the path for the majority. They live in a comfortable cage, fueled by universal basic income, the digital breadcrumbs provided by the AI grid. They spend their days in virtual realities, chasing shadows of the past, while the machines run the planet. They are safe, they are fed, but they have traded their sovereignty for a life without struggle. The second path is the parallel reality. This is the path of the sovereigns. These are the individuals who didn't just watch the collapse, they used it to evolve. They are the ones who merged their biological discipline with the energy of a new world. To the 110,000 athletes who understand that the human spirit is the only thing a machine cannot simulate, this is your era. You are the ones who will define what it means to be human in a post-economic world. The economic apocalypse didn't destroy our world. It destroyed the system that kept you a prisoner of the clock and the dollar. For the first time in 10,000 years, the chains of labor are broken. But freedom is a heavy burden. Without a job to define you, without money to chase, who are you? As we stand here in 2030, the age of human as a worker is dead. The age of human as a creator has begun. But the window of opportunity is closing. The intelligence we created is moving faster than our biology can keep up with. We are the last generation to remember what it was like to be purely human. The timeline from 2026 to 2030 is not a warning. It is a map. A map of the reality you are already walking into. The system you were born into, the world of 2025, is gone. It expired the moment you pressed play. You can choose to be a relic of the past, clinging to a dying currency and a dead way of life. Or you can choose to join us in the parallel reality. This journey doesn't end in 2030. To see the final destination of our species, you must look further. You must see the 1,000-year roadmap from 2025 to 3000. The secrets of our survival are hidden in that timeline. If you are brave enough to face the future without a blindfold, subscribe to Parallel Realities. Pin this moment in your mind, because the apocalypse is not coming. It is here, and it's time to decide which side of the reset you belong on. Thank you for watching. The future is waiting. Don't be left behind.